The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. It happened, as they traveled east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they lived there. They said one to another, "Come, let's make brick and burn them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they used tar for mortar. They said, "Come, let's build us a city and a tower, whose top reaches to the sky, and let's make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad on the surface of the whole earth." The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. The Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is what they begin to do. Now nothing will be withheld from them which they intend to do. Come, let's go down, and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there on the surface of all the earth. They stopped building the city. Therefore the name of it was called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of all the earth there. From there the Lord scattered them abroad on the surface of all the earth. This is the history of the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old, and became the father of Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. Shem lived after he became the father of Arpachshad 500 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Arpachshad lived 35 years, and became the father of Shelah. Arpachshad lived after he became the father of Shelah 403 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years, and became the father of Eber. And Shelah lived after he became the father of Eber 403 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years, and became the father of Peleg. Eber lived after he became the father of Peleg 430 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years, and became the father of Reu. Peleg lived after he became the father of Reu 209 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years, and became the father of Serug. Reu lived after he became the father of Serug 207 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years, and became the father of Nahor. Serug lived after he became the father of Nahor 200 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years, and became the father of Terah. Nahor lived after he became the father of Terah 119 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years, and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now this is the history of the generations of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldees. Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, who was also the father of Iscah. Sarai was barren. She had no child. Terah took Abram his son, Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. They went forth from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. They came to Haran and lived there. The days of Terah were 205 years. Terah died in Haran. Abram went up out of Egypt, he, his wife, all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. He went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. There Abram called on the name of the Lord. Lot also, who went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. The land was not able to bear them, that they might live together, for their substance was great, so that they could not live together. There was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite lived then in the land. Abram said to Lot, "Please, let there be no strife between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are relatives. Isn't the whole land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you go to the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you go to the right hand, then I will go to the left. Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the plain of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt as you go to Zoar. So Lot chose the plain of the Jordan for himself. Lot traveled east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, and Lot lived in the cities of the plain, and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked, and sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot was separated from him, Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see I will give to you, and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then your seed may also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it to you. Abram moved his tent and came and lived by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to the Lord. Now the Lord said to Abram, Get out of your country, and from your relatives, and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you, and make your name great. You will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. In you will all the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram went as the Lord had spoken to him. Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Abram took Sarai his wife, Lot his brother's son, all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls who they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. The Canaanite was then in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, I will give this land to your seed. He built an altar there to the Lord who appeared to him. He left from there to the mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord, and called on the name of the Lord. Abram traveled, going on still toward the south. There was a famine in the land. Abram went down into Egypt to live as a foreigner there, for the famine was sore in the land. It happened, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said to Sarai his wife, See now, I know that you are a beautiful woman to look on. It will happen, when the Egyptians will see you, that they will say, This is his wife. They will kill me, but they will save you alive. Please say that you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that my soul may live because of you. It happened that when Abram had come into Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. The princes of Pharaoh saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. He dealt well with Abram for her sake. He had sheep and oxen and male donkeys, and men servants and maid servants and female donkeys and camels. The Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that you have done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, She is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now, therefore, see your wife, take her and go your way. Pharaoh gave men charge concerning him, and they brought him on the way and his wife and all that he had. It happened in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, that they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemabir, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, the same as the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year Kedorlaomer came, and the kings who were with him, and struck the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir, to El Paran, which is by the wilderness. They returned and came to En Mishpat, the same as Kadesh, and struck all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that lived in Hazazon Tamar. There went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar. And they set the battle in array against them in the valley of Siddim, against Kedorlaomer king of Elam, and Tidal king of Goim, and Amraphel king of Shinar, and Arioch king of Elasar, 4 kings against the 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and they fell there, and those who remained fled to the mountain. They took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their food, and went their way. They took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who lived in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. One who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew. Now he lived by the oaks of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were allies of Abram. When Abram heard that his relative was taken captive, he led forth his trained men, born in his house, 318, and pursued as far as Dan. He divided himself against them by night, he and his servants, and struck them, and pursued them to Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. He brought back all the goods, and also brought back his relative Lot and his goods, and the women also and the people. The king of Sodom went out to meet him, after his return from the slaughter of Kedorlaomer, and the kings who were with him, at the valley of Shaveh, the same as the king's valley. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was priest of God Most High. He blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. Abram gave him 1/10 of all. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people, and take the goods to yourself. Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hands to the Lord God Almighty, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread, nor a shoe latchet, nor anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. After these things the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, Don't be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward. Abram said, Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and he who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus? Abram said, Behold, to me you have given no seed, and behold, one born in my house is my heir. Behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, This man will not be your heir, but he who will come forth out of your own body will be your heir. The Lord brought him outside and said, Look now toward the sky, and count the stars if you are able to count them. He said to Abram, So shall your seed be. He believed in the Lord, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. He said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give you this land to inherit it. He said, Lord God, how will I know that I will inherit it? He said to him, Take me a heifer 3 years old, a female goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. He took him all these and divided them in the middle, and laid each half opposite the other, but he didn't divide the birds. The birds of prey came down on the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. When the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Now terror and great darkness fell on him. He said to Abram, Know for sure that your seed will live as foreigners in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them. They will afflict them 400 years. I will also judge that nation whom they will serve. Afterward they will come out with great substance. But you will go to your fathers in peace. You will be buried in a good old age. In the 4th generation they will come here again, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full. It came to pass that, when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. In that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, To your seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bore him no children. She had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, See now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing. Please go in to my handmaid. It may be that I will obtain children by her. Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her handmaid, after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to Abram her husband to be his wife. He went in to Hagar, and she conceived. When she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Sarai said to Abram, This wrong is your fault. I gave my handmaid into your bosom, and when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and you. But Abram said to Sarai, Behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her whatever is good in your eyes. Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she fled from her face. The angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. He said, Hagar, Sarai's handmaid, where did you come from? Where are you going? She said, I am fleeing from the face of my mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, Return to your mistress and submit yourself under her hands. The angel of the Lord said to her, I will greatly multiply your seed, and they will not be numbered for multitude. The angel of the Lord said to her, Behold, you are with child, and will bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your affliction. He will be like a wild donkey among men. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. He will live opposite all of his brothers. She called the name of the Lord, who spoke to her, You are a God who sees. For she said, Have I even stayed alive after seeing him? Therefore the well was called Beer Lahairoi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. Hagar bore a son for Abram. Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, I am God Almighty. Walk before me and be blameless. I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. Abram fell on his face. God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with you. You will be the father of a multitude of nations. Neither will your name any more be called Abram, but your name will be Abraham, for the father of a multitude of nations have I made you. I will make you exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of you. Kings will come out of you. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and your seed after you throughout their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God to you, and to your seed after you. I will give to you, and to your seed after you, the land where you are traveling, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession. I will be their God. God said to Abraham, As for you, you will keep my covenant, you and your seed after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your seed after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin. It will be a token of a covenant between me and you. He who is 8 days old will be circumcised among you. Every male throughout your generations, he who is born in the house or bought with money of any foreigner who is not of your seed. He who is born in your house, and he who is brought with your money must be circumcised. My covenant will be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. The uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant." God said to Abraham, "As for Sarai your wife, you shall not call her name Sarai, but her name will be Sarah. I will bless her, and moreover I will give you a son by her. Yes, I will bless her, and she will be a mother of nations. Kings of peoples will come from her." Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed, and said in his heart, "Will a child be born to him who is 100 years old? Will Sarah, who is 90 years old, give birth?" Abraham said to God, "Oh, that Ishmael might live before you." God said, "No, but Sarah your wife will bear you a son. You shall call his name Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant for his seed after him. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. He will become the father of 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you at this time next year." When he had finished talking with him, God went up from Abraham. Abraham took Ishmael his son, all who were born in his house, and all who were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the same day, as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. In the same day both Abraham and Ishmael his son were circumcised. All the men of his house, those born in the house and those bought with money of a foreigner, were circumcised with him. The Lord appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre, as he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. He lifted up his eyes and looked, and saw that 3 men stood opposite him. When he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself to the earth, and said, "My Lord, if now I have found favor in your sight, please don't go away from your servant. Now let a little water be fetched, wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. I will get a morsel of bread, so you can refresh your heart. After that you may go your way, now that you have come to your servant." They said, "Very well, do as you have said." Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah and said, "Quickly make ready 3 measures of fine meal. Mix it and make cakes." Abraham ran to the herd and fetched a tender and good calf and gave it to the servant. He hurried to dress it. He took butter, milk, and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. He stood by them under the tree, and they ate. They said to him, "Where is Sarah your wife?" He said, "See, in the tent." He said, "I will certainly return to you when the season comes round. Behold, Sarah your wife will have a son." Sarah heard in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age. It had ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Sarah laughed within herself, saying, "After I have grown old, will I have pleasure, my Lord being old also?" The Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, 'Will I really bear a child, yet I am old?' Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the set time I will return to you when the season comes round, and Sarah will have a son." Then Sarah denied, saying, "I didn't laugh," for she was afraid. He said, "No, but you did laugh." The men rose up from there and looked toward Sodom. Abraham went with them to see them on their way. The Lord said, "Will I hide from Abraham that which I do? Seeing that Abraham has surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed in him. For I have known him, to the end that he may command his children and his household after him, that they may keep the way of the Lord, to do righteousness and justice, to the end that the Lord may bring on Abraham that which he has spoken of him." The Lord said, "Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come to me. If not, I will know." The men turned from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. Abraham drew near and said, "Will you consume the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous within the city? Will you consume and not spare the place for the 50 righteous who are therein? Be it far from you to do things like that, to kill the righteous with the wicked, that so the righteous should be as the wicked. May that be far from you. Shouldn't the judge of all the earth do right?" The Lord said, "If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake." Abraham answered, "See now, I have taken it on myself to speak to the Lord, who am but dust and ashes. What if there lack 5 of the 50 righteous? Will you destroy all the city for lack of 5? He said, "I will not destroy it if I find 45 there." He spoke to him yet again and said, "What if there are 40 found there?" He said, "I will not do it for the 40's sake." He said, "Oh, don't let the Lord be angry, and I will speak. What if there are found 30 there?" He said, "I will not do it if I find 30 there." He said, "See now, I have taken it on myself to speak to the Lord. What if there are 20 found there?" He said, "I will not destroy it for the 20's sake." He said, "Oh, don't let the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. What if 10 are found there?" He said, "I will not destroy it for the 10's sake." The Lord went his way as soon as he had finished communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. The 2 angels came to Sodom at evening. Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. Lot saw them and rose up to meet them. He bowed himself with his face to the earth, and he said, "See now, my lords, please turn aside into your servant's house. Stay all night, wash your feet, and you will rise up early and go on your way." They said, "No, but we will stay in the streets all night." He urged them greatly, and they came in with him and entered into his house. He made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. But before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, surrounded the house, both young and old, all the people from every quarter. They called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came into you this night? Bring them out to us, that we may have sex with them." Lot went out to them to the door and shut the door after him. He said, "Please, my brothers, don't act so wickedly. See now, I have 2 virgin daughters. Please let me bring them out to you, and do you to them as is good in your eyes. Only don't do anything to these men, because they have come under the shadow of my roof." They said, "Stand back." They said, "This fellow came in to live as a foreigner, and he appoints himself a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them." They pressed hard on the man, even Lot, and drew near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand, and brought Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. The men said to Lot, "Do you have anybody else here? Sons-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whoever you have in the city, bring them out of the place, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is grown great before the Lord. The Lord has sent us to destroy it." Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who were pledged to marry his daughters, and said, "Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city." But he seemed to his sons-in-law to be joking. When the morning arose, then the angels hurried Lot, saying, "Arise, take your wife, and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city." But he lingered, and the men laid hold on his hand, and on the hand of his wife, and on the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him, and they took him out, and set him outside of the city. It came to pass, when they had taken them out, that he said, "Escape for your life. Don't look behind you, neither stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed." Lot said to them, "Oh, not so, my lord. See now, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness, which you have shown to me in saving my life. I can't escape to the mountain, lest evil overtake me and I die. See now, This city is near to flee to, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape there. Isn't it a little one? And my soul will live." He said to him, "Behold, I have granted your request concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I can't do anything until you get there." Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen on the earth when Lot came to Zoar. Then the Lord rained on Sodom and on Gomorrah sulfur and fire from the Lord out of the sky. He overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew on the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and looked, and saw that the smoke of the land went up as the smoke of a furnace. It happened, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived. Lot went up out of Zoar, and lived in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, for he was afraid to live in Zoar. He lived in a cave with his 2 daughters. The firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come into us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let's make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve our father's seed." They made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. He didn't know when she lay down, nor when she arose. It came to pass on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, "Behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine again tonight. You go in and lie with him, that we may preserve our father's seed." They made their father drink wine that night also. The younger arose and lay with him. He didn't know when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus both of Lot's daughters were with child by their father. The firstborn bore a son, and named him Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. The same is the father of the children of Ammon to this day. Abraham traveled from there toward the land of the south, and lived between Kadesh and Shur. He lived as a foreigner in Gerar. Abraham said about Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream of the night and said to him, "Behold, you are a dead man, because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife." Now Abimelech had not come near her. He said, "Lord, will you kill even a righteous nation? Didn't he tell me she is my sister? She, even she herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands have I done this." God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know that in the integrity of your heart you have done this, and I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore I didn't allow you to touch her. Now therefore restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you and you will live. If you don't restore her, know for sure that you will die, you and all who are yours." Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ear. The men were very scared. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done." Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you see that you have done this thing?" Abraham said, "Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place. They will kill me for my wife's sake. Moreover, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. It happened, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, 'This is your kindness which you shall show to me. Everywhere that we go, say of me, he is my brother.'" Abimelech took sheep and oxen, men servants and women servants, and gave them to Abraham, and restored Sarah his wife to him. Abimelech said, "Behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you." To Sarah he said, "Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, it is for you a covering of the eyes to all that are with you. In front of all you are vindicated." Abraham prayed to God. God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maidservants, and they bore children. For the Lord had closed up tight all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.